So you're thinking about moving to Plano, Texas, but you kind of want to know the good and the bad before you do? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to share with you the pros and cons of living in Plano, Texas. So you want to stay tuned because we're going to get after it right now. Hey, if this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything there is about eating, sleeping, working, playing, the good and the bad of living in Dallas, Texas, or the surrounding areas like Plano, then subscribe below, tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to learn about the current market in Dallas. My name is Levi. You know, my partner Jimmy and I, we get calls and emails every single day from people just like you and you and you and you looking to make a move to Dallas, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, just give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and we'd be happy to help you make a smooth move to Dallas or Plano. As we're talking about in today's video, the pros and the cons of living in Plano. There's very many pros, not so many cons, but you'll want to stick around till the end because we'll share with you a couple of the cons. But starting off, I mean, Plano is pretty, it's a great location. So that's pro number one. You think about it, if you want to kind of be in a suburb but still be close to Dallas, Plano is about 25 minutes to downtown Dallas. Now at the same time, it's on the southern border of Frisco. So it's one of those just really kind of nestled in the middle as far as the Metroplex and all the growth that's happening in Dallas. And that's the thing, is there's a lot of growth moving up north in North Dallas, so even above Frisco. So the last 20 years, Frisco has consumed a lot of the growth going on in North Texas. And I would say Plano's was really kind of 80s and 90s, and now Frisco took over in the 2000s. But even Frisco's starting to fill up, so now that growth is moving north. So you get like Prosper, Salina, Anna, Melissa, even McKinney is really starting to grow with a lot of new communities. But Plano is just nestled right below that, and then so you're a closer shot to downtown Dallas. So if you're going to be commuting into downtown Dallas, then you're going to be a lot closer than Frisco, and you'll even save a little bit on some tolls because if you're on the west side of Plano, the tollway is going to be the easiest way to get down to downtown Dallas. But if you're on the east side, you can simply take 75. But that, I will say, if we want to switch over to a con momentarily, then I would say traffic is a con if you're going to be in Plano and you're going to be commuting downtown. So that's something you definitely want to keep in mind, because if you're going downtown, of course, you're going to be going with traffic in the morning and then coming back with traffic in the evenings. The tollway is a little less congested because it is a tollway, of course. You know, usually the tollways, that's why they have them, but at the same time, it can still get backed up. 75 can get it can get a little dicey sometimes, depending on you know, when you're going with traffic. So that's something to keep in mind. So that is a downside. Now, when you're in Plano and driving around Plano, it's really not that bad. You know, going around inside the suburb, because Plano is close to, well, it's close to almost 300,000, 287,000 people in Plano. I mean, that is quite a bit, but it's very popular, but still traffic is manageable when you're driving throughout the community. But if you're going to be commuting to downtown Dallas, then that's just something to keep in mind. But you're on the southern border of Frisco, so if you want to head into Frisco, that's going to be an easy shot. And if you're going to be commuting to Frisco, which, by the way, they say Frisco will have more office space than downtown Dallas within the next 5 to 10 years. So, and a lot of the tech jobs that are coming from California at this time are moving to Frisco and that North Dallas area. So you might be commuting to Frisco, and if that's the thing, you're going to be going opposite of traffic normally, because a lot of people from Frisco commute into downtown Dallas as well. So that's something to keep in mind. But again, a lot of people do work in Frisco from Plano, so you might hit a little traffic getting up there, but there's plenty of side streets you can always take to get up there. So traffic, depending on what you're doing, it's just one of those things where you're going to need to test it out and figure it out. Maybe before, if you're starting work, if you're moving down here and you're going to be starting work, if you have that scheduled out, maybe on a day, if you have a weekday off that you're not going into work yet, you might want to test the traffic just to give yourself some time. Or you can use Waze, the app Waze. I love Waze because I program all my stuff in there, and you can program it the night before. For like, if you have to be at work at 9 a.m., program it for the night before, and it will tell you the time you need to leave your house. So that would actually be a much easier way to do that. And I tell you what, Waze has almost never let me down. I don't think it's really ever let me down by telling me the time that I need to leave my house. I've never been late to an appointment, so it's very reliable. So if you got it, and if you have to be there at 8:30, just program that in the night before, and Waze will tell you exactly when you need to leave. So that's just a little quick tip. Waze does not sponsor this video, and I don't get any compensation from Waze at all. I'm just throwing that out there so you know. But yeah, the proximity of Plano, being just north of Dallas, 25 miles on the southern border of Frisco, then it really gives you a lot of access to everything that's going on in the, in the Metroplex. And you're not too far. You're only 25 minutes to the airport as well. So that's a pretty easy shot to get over to the airport. So that's just something to keep in mind on top of that. All right, so another good thing about Plano is the school system. The public school system is one of the top ranked school systems in all of North Dallas, not too far behind Frisco. Frisco has a top rated school system as well, but Plano's right there. So a lot of good school options in Plano to choose from. If you're going to be moving to Plano, then most of the public schools are going to be a great choice and a great area. But of course, you always want to confirm the schools before you move into a particular area, just to be sure. Now, in addition to that, not just the schools, but then also the diversity in Plano is really good as well. So if you want if you're looking for variety or more diversity, then Plano is going to be a great option, because there's a lot that's going on there in Plano. All right, another great thing about Plano is the culinary scene, and because of the diversity in Plano, then you're going to get a lot of different kinds of restaurants, anywhere from, of course Tex-Mex. You're going to get some good Mexican and Tex-Mex. You got some great barbecue spots, Indian, Asian, all of that, all of the different food styles. And of course, a lot of the families have come from out of country and settled in Plano, so you're going to get some authentic food from those areas, and you can find it pretty easily. So just whatever your heart desires for some good food, some good ethnic food, then that's going to be a great option for you there. If you go to Legacy Food Hall, which is in Legacy West, then that's a really popular spot as well, because it's you don't want to describe it as a food hall, but it's kind of like a food hall not in a mall. It's just very unique. It's a combination of over 22 restaurants inside of one building. So it's kind of, I would say it's an indoor marketplace for restaurants, but with amazing chefs, great cooks, good food, and all different types of variety. So you definitely want to go check out Legacy Hall in the Legacy West, which is across the street from Shops at Legacy, which is and that's another pro in itself of being in Plano. That whole area, the Shops at Legacy, Legacy West, and Legacy Food Hall, is all concentrated in just one, right on the southern border of Frisco at the northern border of Plano. So right where Frisco and Plano meet, kind of on the tollway, the two tollways, 121 and the Dallas North Tollway, then that's a great spot. True Food, which is one of my favorite restaurants, is there. So many other great restaurants and shops all through that whole area. It's a great place to take the family or take your spouse or your date. It's a great spot at night, during the day. I mean, really just all over and well-rounded in that whole area. But yeah, Legacy Food Hall, over 22 restaurants, unique, great chefs. Clearly the complete opposite of a food court or a food hall inside of a mall. That's what I was thinking of, a food court. That's what I was actually thinking of, but it's called Legacy Hall. But similar to that concept, but just amazing food. So you definitely want to check that out. All right, so another good pro about, if we want to talk a little bit about real estate, is the median home value is around $330,000. So you can get in there at a good price. I will say right now the market is pretty hot in Dallas. Has a major influx from California, New York, Illinois. People are making their move to Dallas, so the demand is a lot higher right now, and prices are still staying pretty consistent. But what we're seeing is we are seeing a lot of multiple offers and homes going for $10,000 or $20,000 over asking price. They're still well within range as far as being properly priced, but because there's so many offers, people are going slightly above that. So the thing is that speed is your friend in this market. So if you see something, we've got to make an offer. of course, myself and my team, we found some good spots, especially some new construction sites that if you are able to consider them, we got a way in there without having to get into a bidding war. So it's just one of those things where, speed is your friend in this market. So if you see something you like, we got to make an offer on and kind of go from there. But with home values, the median home value around $330,000, you can get in at a pretty affordable price, 5, 6, lots of options there. And there's some really nice neighborhoods in Plano that go up in the multi-million-dollar range. Kind of touch on that a little bit at the end, but overall you can find a home well within your budget within Plano, and the median income in Plano is around $80,000. So you've got a higher threshold. There's so many companies and job opportunities in Plano. It's got one of the lowest unemployment rates as a suburb or city or suburb in the Dallas, not just the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but in the United States. So very low unemployment rate, almost 80,000 as far as the median income. So many corporations there, and so many corporations in Frisco as well, just right next door. So if you're coming here for a job, then Plano would be a great option. You should have a minimal commute, especially if you are able to work at one of the companies like Toyota's there, Dr. Pepper, Snapple, several other companies. I could just keep going on and on, but are headquartered there in the Plano area. So just something to keep in mind, that it's a great spot for that as well. And then another major pro with Plano is the parks. I mean, they have over 84 parks in Plano, and one of them, Oak Grove Park, is over 800 acres. So if you like to bike and hike and do all that outdoor activity, then Oak Grove Park is a great place to do it, but they've got so many other parks nestled all throughout Plano. But if you head over to Oak Grove, 800 acres, they've got zip lining and rope climbing and all kinds of adventurous stuff you can do there. So you don't have to go all the way to Costa Rica just to go zip lining. You can just head over to Oak Grove Park in Plano and really have a good time there. They've got a lot going on. So that's something to just keep in mind, that if you're an outdoorsy type of person, then you can head over there. And you're not that far from Lake Lewisville, which is just right up the road. Basically, you get there in, 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes to Lake Lewisville, one of the biggest lakes in Dallas-Fort Worth area. And of course, I always talk about we love the lake life here. And that's something that, because we don't have the ocean or the mountains, we enjoy the lake life and our parks and recreation and hiking and things like that. So Lake Lewisville is a great spot to head over during the summer. Get out on the boat. It helps you beat the heat here in Texas, because it does get a little warm in the summertime. So that's something you want to keep in mind. All right, so if we talk about some of the cons of Plano, well, we kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier as far as traffic. And if you're going to be commuting to downtown, then that's something you want to just be mindful of, all right? So again, use the app Waze. We highly recommend that, and that'll be something to help you kind of navigate that. If you need to get anywhere, even over to the airport, I would use that app, and you can pre-program your arrival time that you need to be there. It'll tell you when to get there. So that's pretty cool. I don't want to say the weather's, because weather in Dallas or North Texas in general is just kind of like whatever. They say if you don't like the weather here in Texas, just give it a minute and it'll change. And that's the case. We've literally seen that in the we're just coming out of that major snowstorm at the time of this recording. That was about last week, or a week and a half ago. But anyways, yes, that snowstorm came in. This is March now, we're moving into March, but that happened almost the last week of February. Winter storm, we haven't seen anything like that ever, as far as I know, in my lifetime here. Of course, we've gotten a couple of snow days here and there, but for it to deep freeze for several days, crazy. When that stopped, that Saturday when it finally left, 70 degrees. Sunday, 80 degrees. Monday, 70 degrees. And then Tuesday, it was 50 and raining again. And it's just like the next day, Wednesday, I don't know, it was 40. It's just kind of all over the place. The winter here is pretty unpredictable, but I tell you what, I've got so many family pictures at Christmas time where we're all standing outside in our shorts and t-shirts. I mean, that's usually the case. Usually January and February are just kind of the colder months, but they're still not that bad. I'm talking like 40s or 50s, and it's usually sunny and really not that bad. So it's just something to keep in mind. So I say weather is not specific to Plano, but it is, it is something to think about if you're going to be moving to Plano. All right, I would say another con of living in Plano, especially if you're going to be on the west side, is going to be the tollway, because the Dallas North Tollway is a toll road. So if you don't like paying tolls, that is going to be one of the easiest ways to get to downtown Dallas or to get up to Frisco. So every time you get on, every time you get off, and then as you hit little spots along the way, you're going to have tolls, and that's just something that nobody likes paying tolls, right? But if you're going to be on the toll, it is convenient though. It is very convenient. That's what you're paying for, is the convenience. You definitely want to get a toll tag. It's the little sticker you just put up on your window, and that's it. You can drive straight through all that stuff. You don't have to worry about anything else. They have a rechargeable account to where they charge your account, I think, like $20, and whenever you get down to $5, they'll charge your account back to $20. So it's just kind of like it's not a use or lose. So just, you could not drive on the tollway for a year and you'll still have a balance in there. So the next time you decide to get on the tollway, then you should be good to go. And that sticker is pretty much good for all of the state of Texas. So if you go down to Austin, which I do often, then that'll cover you as well when you're in Austin, even though it's a different emblem. They call it like a TX tag in Austin, but in Dallas it's a toll tag. But they all work with each other. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to have separate toll tags for Houston and Austin or Dallas. They're all kind of universal. It's just depending on where you live. If you live in Dallas, you'll get a toll tag. Austin is a TX tag, and I'm not sure what they get in Houston, because I try not to go to Houston too much at all, really. But that's just something to keep in mind. But other than that, there's really not a lot of downside. The most important downside to Plano is, I will say, as I mentioned earlier, how a lot of it was built up in the 80s and 90s, especially the multi-million-dollar homes. They still kind of, it's that 80s and 90s construction. So I would say that's a downside to me, someone who likes, who deals in homes all day and likes aesthetics. And definitely myself, I like historic homes, but depending on new construction, if it's done well, I do like that as well. But the 80s and 90s were not good years for home building. I mean, they got into the cookie cutter, they got into some cheap material. It's just one of those things that even in the really nice neighborhoods in Plano, a lot of those homes are going to be outdated. So just depending on what you're looking for, it could be a renovation job. We're actually just working with a buyer last week, multi-million-dollar buyer, and but they wanted something like they wanted a modern traditional in Plano, and it's very difficult to find. There's not a lot of new construction going on there. There's not a lot of homes being built modern, transitional. And so that's just something to keep in mind. Now, what you may find is something that's been gutted and made modern transitional on the inside, but the facade or the outside is still going to have some of those tendencies of the 80s and 90s, but it just depends. If you're looking for something more up to date, Plano's, it's a little bit harder to find. I'm not saying we can't find it, but you can always build, or there's a lot of tear downs going on and building from the ground up. But even with that, people are kind of building more of that traditional Texas look of stone or brick, and not necessarily the modern transitional type of homes, or they might, a lot of Mediterranean in Plano as well. So it's kind of like traditional and Mediterranean are the two main styles there. So if that's not your style, then it just depends on, it's going to be a little difficult to find something other than that, unless you're going to be building up or gutting a house, or you happen to find somebody that is building that style of home. So just something to keep in mind if you're going to be looking in Plano. Other than that, Plano is a great area. All the pros that I mentioned before, really good spot. Like I mentioned too, with the Plano or Legacy West, Shops at Legacy, that whole area is really great. And the Shops at Willow Bend, if you want the Beverly Hills of North Dallas, then it's the Shops at Willow Bend, and then the Willow Bend neighborhoods in Plano. Really nice neighborhoods, huge lots, heavily treed area. But again, trying to find the perfect home there is a little difficult. You're going to need to probably renovate, do a gut renovation. There are some tear downs in that area. So, but Willow Bend, the most prestigious neighborhood in Plano. And it's really, really nice, especially Willow Bend Country, where you have all the large lots. But that's just something to keep in mind. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, if you used to live in Plano or you live in Plano now, please comment below. Let us know what you think about Plano in general. Any tips or tricks for people that are thinking of moving from out of town. Maybe, you can always help them out with, maybe some things that we didn't mention here. And so also, if you found value in this, then we just ask that you hit that thumbs up button and that subscribe button. That would be very nice of you. But more importantly, if you watch another one of our videos, that's what really helps us out. So check out our full vlog tour on Plano, and check out all of Plano Explained, where we take you through on the map and show you everything you need to know on a map. So those are 2 great videos you could watch after this, and that's what really helps us out the most if you watch those videos. And if you stick around, we'll tack on some neighborhood footage here at the end. So if you want to just take a stroll with us in our car and just check out some of the neighborhoods, we'll add that on here at the end. So, until next time, we hope to see you around town.